Hi, welcome to the Recovery Daily podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Miller. I'm a stroke survivor and grateful recovering alcoholic. Today's episode is about drinking dreams. So, if any of you out there are recovering alcoholics or have attempted to be a recovering alcoholic and are still struggling, you know what I'm talking about. They are these dreams that we have when we put down alcohol. And it's like we never stopped drinking in our dreams, and it can cause panic, it can cause frustration, sadness, anxiety, all of that stuff. It just seems so real. And it seems pretty terrible. So I wanted to talk about it. First of all, to let anyone know who has drinking dreams that you are totally normal. And it's something that we should talk about, just like everything else in recovery. It's something to not be ashamed of. So that's what I wanted to talk about. But first off, I wanted to let you know that I was interviewed this evening by a gentleman who has another podcast, and it's called Recovery After Stroke. And so my episode where he interviewed me is going to get posted in about 3 weeks, he said. So it was really great. We laughed, I cried. I just thought it was really fun. It was nice to talk to another stroke survivor. And I talked a lot about stroke recovery and a lot about my recovery from alcoholism and how I've been tying all of those together in my life in order to keep my mental health, you know, good. So anyway, I'll let you know when it comes out. I'll put the link in the description of the episode whenever that comes out. But that's pretty exciting. So hopefully we'll get to grow our community a little bit more by sharing my experience on his podcast. So that's the big news for today. And so back to drinking dreams. All right. So when I first got sober, I was having drinking dreams right out of the gate. And I have always had really vivid dreams my whole life, whether I was a kid, throughout my active alcoholism and post sobriety, all of I've been having vivid dreams my whole life. What they say, they meaning, I don't know, the internets, is that our brain activity starts speeding back up, after we put down the alcohol. And not only when we're awake, but also when we're sleeping. For me, I think that dreams, because I've been having vivid dreams my whole life, are my brain's way of working things out that are on my mind. And over the years, I've looked into the meaning of dreams, like if you dream about birds flying, it means something. If you dream about yourself flying, it means something else. I dream about myself flying all the time. I love it. And I also have this dream, come to think of it, I have this dream that if I try really hard, like think really hard, I can go really, really fast, like Flash or something. It's really weird. Anyway, I just remembered that I don't think I've ever said that out loud. But yeah, that's one of the dreams that I have. So dreams are just dreams. And as much as I can say that, and you probably believe it, when you are a recovering alcoholic and you are having a dream that you're drinking, it can cause you to wake up and be terrified that you just lost your sobriety, because that's how vivid it can be. And it's just not a very fun way of waking up. And that shock of having, whether you drank in the dream or you were hiding alcohol in the dream, you wake up and think, um, so all of that is still inside of me? Like, am I not as doing as well in sobriety as I thought I was? It made me question um how spiritually fit I was, how strong my recovery was, until I went to sobriety meetings and I just kept coming back and I kept listening to other people talking about the fact that they had drinking dreams. So I am 7 years sober as of this past June. Sorry, April. I don't know why I said, oh, because my stroke is is the month of June. My sobriety is the month of April. Um, and in all those years, I still have drinking dreams. I still do. And I have learned over time how to deal with that. And I wanted to talk about my experience with that. And hopefully it can help somebody else who feels more like when you have a drinking dream that it just disturbs you for an entire day or an entire week, which can happen. So, interestingly enough, I recently had a I don't know what I'm going to call it, a stroke dream. No, I wasn't having a stroke in the dream. A vision impairment dream where I was trying to do the things that I would normally do. Like, I don't remember specifically what I was doing in the dream, but whether it was driving, riding in the car, or riding a bike or something like that. And I was pushing myself to do it, to keep doing it and keep looking. And it was making me feel nauseous and my head was hurting and I was getting like sharp pains in my head in the dream. And I woke up and I felt kind of down. I felt like feeling sorry for myself, which is how in the beginning when I had um yep, I just lost my train of thought. When I had drinking dreams that sorry, my brain just slowed down. When I had drinking dreams, I would wake up and feel that same kind of feeling sorry for myself. Like, why does this have to be me? Why do I have to be an alcoholic? And that's how I was feeling after I had a vision impairment dream. That's what we're going to call it, a vision impairment dream. And I was feeling sorry for myself that why does this have to happen to me? Why me? And I refuse to live my life like that. I'm not going to live my life like that. So I wanted to do something about it. So I just give you some examples of some of my drinking dreams that I've had. I have a lot of college drinking dreams where I'm back at college and I'm going to a fraternity party and there's a keg there. Actually, there's like many, many kegs. Like in my dreams, if I'm going to do it up, I do it up right. Like there's tons of kegs and it's this big party and I've got my plastic cup, solo cup, that's what it's called. I have my solo cup and I'm ready to like fill it up with the keg, some delicious cold beer. And for some reason, I cannot get the tap to work. So that's one of the dreams. I'm standing there and I cannot get the and I'm thirsty and, and so all odds are against me in that particular drinking dream where I am not going to be able to drink and I want to so bad. So that's one example of a quote unquote drinking dream where I wanted it, but I couldn't get it. I've also had dreams, reoccurring dreams that I am at my in-laws, my ex-in-laws' old house, and they had this basement that was kind of like a party basement. There was a bar down there and everything. And so I had dreams that I was down there and there was just cases and cases of beer back behind, like in the unfinished part of the basement. And I kept sneaking away to go in there and get a beer. And every time I went in there and opened the cases, either they were all empty or all that was left was like Diet Coke, which of course, I don't even like Diet Coke. I only drink high caffeinated, high sugar Coke, which I learned today is not good for my brain. I already knew that, but I don't know. I'm feeling a little on the edge of giving that up. Anyway, so I can't get the alcohol, and I want it really bad. I've had other dreams about, I get the alcohol, um, and I have the cap off. It's nice and cold. It's a beer. It's usually beer, interestingly, in my dreams. But I can't find a place where I'm not going to get caught drinking it. So I'm like running around, trying to hide in different areas of the house, and and I can't find a place where nobody's going to see me drinking. I've had dreams about being at parties with my sorority sisters, and half of them know that I'm a recovering alcoholic, and in those dreams, those were kind of more recent. I was drinking wine and I actually did drink in the dream. And they were all just shaking their head at me and disappointed that, and they wouldn't talk to me anymore and all. So these drinking dreams, the reason I'm giving you all these examples is that not only to show you that they come in all shapes and sizes, but also that that I have a long 7-year history of drinking dreams. So I somehow had to figure out how to deal with my state of mind when I woke up after I had a drinking dream. And so that's what I wanted to talk about in this episode. I've heard a lot of people in my sobriety meetings who come, my meeting is at 7 a.m. in the morning. So a lot of times there's people, we all just woke up and they'll share about, oh, I had a drinking dream last night. I'm so disturbed by it. Either they're hiding it from their spouse or their kids see them drink or, something, but they're so disturbed by it. Just throws them off for days that they had this drinking dream. And I want to, the best I can, help people figure out how to process the dream because it's not healthy. What it needs to be is more of a reminder of our sobriety, not a reminder of our mental state when we were drinking, because we're letting that go. And I'm sure there's a part of my brain that was in mourning, of letting that go. And the best thing that my brain knew how to do was to invite it back in while I was sleeping. So, what I was thinking about this morning is how my drinking dreams and this vision impairment dream that I had seem so real. That's why we wake up like that in a panic, and disturbed, is because it seems so real. And what I was comparing it to it this morning was the stories that I make up in my head that seem so real. Um, when I'm, making up a story about how somebody is thinking a certain way about me, for example. Um, I just got off the phone with my dad, for example. And okay, I'll share this. I was talking to my dad because he wanted to get caught up on what was going on in my life. And we were talking about an individual in politics who's very old. And I said that he's ancient. And my dad said he's 4 years younger than me. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry that I said that," and he just laughed. He's like, "It's okay." But and I believe that it is okay because dad says it's okay. He's not going to, hopefully he doesn't think about that anymore. But as you can tell, I'm still spun up about it. So this is an example of how I could create a story in my head about this, that I said something that was rude to my dad, and I feel terrible about it. But I could make up this story in my head that dad is totally mad at me. And what am I going to do? I could think every day that, oh, he's just stewing on what I said to him. Or it would be a story. It would be a story that I make up in my head. But if I tell that story to myself enough, it becomes so real to me. It becomes so real. And then when it becomes real, it kickstarts all of my character defects. And my character defects are anxiety, are fearfulness, are, just the mental health issues that I have a hard time, that I take medication for. I can get so spun up that those will start emerging unless I do some of these techniques that I talk about in the podcast. And so I feel like these dreams are very similar to our real life stories that we make up. The dream stories are the same as the real life stories. And so, what can I do about those? Um, so, what I was thinking about today is about my God box. And the reason why is because my God box has been an incredible tool that has helped me be able to let go because I never understood what it meant to let something go. So I had to use my God box as a physical representation of whatever it was that was bothering me, write it down on a sticky note and stick it inside this box. And that represented it being taken out of my head and being put out into something else that is outside of me because I don't wanna deal with it anymore. I'm handing it over. Um, so why can't I use the God box for a dream that I have, a really disturbing dream? If I use the God box to let go of anything I'm spun up about, say, if I were to really get upset about what I said to my dad and I needed to let it go, I would write that on a sticky note and stick it in my God box. So if real life stories that I'm making up in my head have the same effect on me as the dream stories that I create, drinking dreams, then why can't I put that in my God box also? Um, all of these dreams and stories are eliciting emotional reactions that I'm trying to create new creative coping skills, create new habits to link those emotions to a different type of action. And the best way I know how to do that is to start with my God box, and whatever it is that's causing the extreme emotions for me, I write it down and stick it in my God box. My gratitude in recovery is the ability that I have now to look at the stories that I tell myself and take action instead of letting the emotions intensify and let those character defects come out. And these character defects hold me back. And if I'm going to wake up out of a drinking dream and think that I drank, I mean, intellectually, I know that I did not drink, but it doesn't even matter when you wake up that it was just a dream, but it was so bothersome because it really revealed that all those defects are still inside of me. No matter how hard I work on them in sobriety, they're still there. And they come out in my dreams um, just like I never entered into sobriety. I never entered into recovery. So what I need to do is accept that I am imperfect and forgive myself for being imperfect. And if my character defects want to come out while I'm sleeping, then so be it. Eventually, if I can accept that I am not perfect and forgive myself for anything I do in real life or in my dreams, eventually I can be grateful for that imperfection because the joy in my life it comes from the growth and the reward from recognizing the negative, recognizing the character defects, the imperfections, recognizing that, yeah, I drank in my dream, but I'm a human being and I dream, and there's nothing I can do about that. What I dreamed has nothing to do with what I, my intense desire to recover. I work every day. It's my full-time job now is recovery. And I still go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning and have had a drinking dream. There's nothing I can do about that. But what I can do is navigate the feelings that I wake up with about it. And I used to, back when I was younger, they have all these books about what drinking dreams mean and all that stuff. Like I was talking about earlier. I used to try to look at the drinking dreams and figure out what they meant. Like, okay, I had a dream that I was hanging out with my sorority sisters. That must mean that I need to reach out to my sorority sisters, or that, no, it doesn't mean anything. It means that I used to be in a sorority and I had a drinking dream. That's all it means, I used to get so frustrated by these feelings of, what does that mean? I have to work even harder at staying sober because I'm still drinking in my dreams? No, I'm a human being and I drink in my dreams. I mean, have you ever had a dream about another person that you're not married to? You didn't do anything. You dreamed it. And honestly, you can be madly in love with your significant other and still have a dream about somebody else. And it doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean that you have cheated on your significant other. You know what I mean? They're just dreams. And I'm sure we could get into the psychology of dreams and all that stuff. I'm not in the business of analyzing dreams, but what I can talk about is some positive aspects of what I see when I wake up after I had a drinking dream. So, and side note, uh, I always have dreams of my boyfriend cheating on me. Okay? Full, full disclosure. I do. I don't know why, but for years I would wake up and I would be totally pissed at him in the morning. And he was like, I was sleeping this whole time, I swear, and we would joke about it, but I would really be pissed off when I woke up. Well, I've learned that not to do that anymore. I just don't do it anymore. It doesn't mean that my initial reaction in the morning isn't, you know, it is because it takes me a minute to shift from dreamland to reality. And sometimes I'll actually go, you know, have to give him an extra smooch in the morning to just solidify that I am back in this universe and I'm not in my dreamy universe. So, okay, so here are some things that I do. This is how I deal with my drinking dreams and now my vision impairment dreams. So, number one, recognize that I am sleeping better. So, if I didn't have a drinking dream, um, or any dream at all for that matter, I'm not sleeping very well. So when I have a nice, good, vivid dream, it means I'm sleeping better. I'm sleeping well. So that's a positive thing. Number one. Number two, when I wake up and recognize that I drank in my dream, or if I was trying to drink in my dream, but I couldn't get away from everybody um, to get my drink, it's a reminder to me that I'm not living in that prison anymore inside my head, because that's what it feels like when I'm in my dream and I'm trying to hide. Um, I'm trying to get the alcohol. It's a prison. It feels like a prison in my head. And so when I wake up and recognize that I'm still sober, I had a drinking dream, I just remember that I'm free. I'm free from that temptation and that need to hide and lie and be secretive. I can just drink my Coca-Colas. Next, along the same lines, it's really a time to celebrate. It is. If I was still drinking, I wouldn't be having drinking dreams. I wouldn't have to. So it's a time to celebrate. And number four, if you're stressed and fearful and anxious, if you're in distress when you wake up from having a drinking dream, I have lots of episodes about that, about coping techniques. And that's really what it is. It's just another thing that we have to deal with as human beings. And so I recommend really taking a look at what is the emotion that you're feeling. Is it fear? Is it anger? Is it anxiousness? Is it, what is it? Sadness, shame, guilt? What is it? And give it a name. I talk about that all the time. There's something to actually naming the emotion um, and identifying with it. And then number five, my God box, my world famous God box. Stick it in there. And if you have to do it all day long, just keep writing it down. Drinking dream and stick it in the God box. Drinking dream, stick it in the God box. And it's always nice to actually pick up the phone and talk to somebody about it. It's always good to get it out of your head and release it into the universe. So today, my dreams are more of like an alternate universe for me. And I no longer try to compare what's going on in my dream to what's going on in real life. And I mentioned this the other day. I just read a book called Dark Matter. I listened to a book on Audible called Dark Matter, and it was all about alternate universes. And that's what I was thinking of when I was writing my notes for this podcast. I was thinking about, yeah, it's just like an alternate universe, and I can do whatever the hell I want in that alternate universe. And honestly, if I'm being totally honest, I have had moments that I wake up in the morning and I had just completely partied in my dream. I completely drank. I had fun. I laughed. I cried, and I woke up and I didn't feel guilty about it because somehow I've heard of people doing this before, being able to recognize that you're dreaming. That's what I have. It seems like I've been starting to do is somehow recognizing that I'm dreaming, and I just have at it in my dream. I don't know. I don't know how that works, but I do try to, if I'm disturbed by something that I dreamt, um, I try to think back to what I was thinking right when I went to sleep the night before. Because the thing is I've talked about my many pre sleep time habits that I have, where I do my prayer, I do my stretches, I do my push-ups, I do all of these ridiculous things before I go to bed. And then I will get in bed, and a lot of times I'll listen to the Calm app, and I'll listen to a meditation or something as I fall asleep. And I'm in this like just serene state of mind when I go to bed every night. At least that's my goal. And so if I can wake up in the morning, if I'm distressed, and think back to what I was feeling right before I went to sleep, I can recognize that nothing has changed from the moment that I was serene and going to bed to the moment I woke up. The only thing that happened was a dream. There's absolutely nothing in the world, in my life, nothing that changed. And it helps me recognize a little better that that dream was all something that was created inside my brain. So that's how I deal with drinking dreams. I hope this was helpful. I hate to hear when people are distressed about drinking dreams. So anyway, if anybody has any questions about drinking dreams or want to hear a little more about my experience, don't hesitate to reach out to me. You can head over to my website at recoverydailypodcast.com and click the contact button and fill out the form and contact me, or you can contact me on Facebook or LinkedIn. So thanks so much for listening, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. And sweet dreams.